and welcome back. So you are now officially halfway through the course. This is module number 5, during which we're going to be talking about judgment and expectations. And not only are we talking about the judgment and expectations that you have of other people, but of the judgment and expectations that you have of yourself, right? And so when we're talking about other people, we're talking about needs and wants and desires that you have that are uncommunicated, right? So one of the biggest sayings that I've heard around this specific topic is that expectations are actually premeditated resentments. And you can see the impact that something like that would have on your intimate relationship, on your family relationships, on the relationship that you have with your kids, right? We all can think of one instance, at least in our lives, where we've had an expectation of someone that we haven't clearly communicated, right? Like we expect the people around us to somehow be mind readers and know what we want done, how we want it done, when we want it done. We don't give them a clear indication of what those things truly are. And so this causes an unmet expectation within us, right? And that triggers us to be upset, to be angry, to feel like we need to defend or explain ourselves to the people in our lives. And all it does is create conflict and disconnect, right? And what most of us want, what all of us really truly want, is to connect with other people and to feel loved. And so our expectations are actually impeding our ability to connect with other people. And so when you talk about expectations towards yourself, it's saying, okay, well, are these really my expectations of myself, or are these things that I've taken on from other people, from society, from my parents, from my religion, from my friends, from anything and everyone that I've allowed to influence me up until this point in my life, right? So when you take a step back and you say, are these really expectations that I have of myself, or are they expectations that I've adopted that other people may have of me and that I now feel less than for not meeting, right? And I give myself a hard time about it, and I talk crap to myself, and I have all of these little voices in my head telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing, how I should or shouldn't be doing it, and what's good and what's bad and what's right and what's wrong, and we're driving ourselves crazy with all of these expectations. When you can just, obviously you've just done it in the last module, right? Start letting go of those expectations. And the beautiful part about this is that as you start letting go of those expectations that you have on yourself, you can't help but start letting go of the expectations that you have from other people, because you start allowing yourself to be seen and to see yourself as you really truly are. And so you start creating this space where you can actually start seeing and witnessing other people for who and what they really truly are, and understanding that there's no right or wrong way to be. There's simply ways that are useful and not useful for creating and getting what it is that you truly want out of your life, right? And so that brings us over to judgment, right? Because when we do believe that there's a right or wrong way of doing things and a good and bad way of being or people, right? It creates this sense of you shouldn't be doing that, right? And so I'm going to judge you for it. And that's really just my own way of actually making myself feel better in the moment, right? If I feel like maybe I'm a little bit overweight, let's say, and I see somebody walk by who is significantly more overweight than I am, I might judge her and say, oh my gosh, like how can you let yourself be overweight? But what I'm really saying is, this is something that I'm insecure about, so I'm going to find somebody who's in a worse circumstance than I am so that I can feel better about my shortcomings from my expectation of myself. You guys see how this works together with each other? And so when you really start having compassion and grace on yourself and saying, well, I understand that I'm a perfectly imperfect being, right? Like there are things about me that are going to be amazing, and there are things that are going to be not so amazing, right? And those things that are not so amazing, those things that might be my weaknesses, I'm going to do my best to find strength in them. And so as I do that for myself, I'm able to also do that for others. And so you realize that by judging others, it's really just a reflection of the things that you're judging in yourself. And so it becomes easier and easier to take a step back from it and say, oh, I understand that I'm just looking for ways to help myself feel better about things that I may or may not be doing in my life to get me closer to what it is that I truly want. And instead of putting it off on somebody else and judging them for the decisions that they're making that I have no idea as to why they're making them, right? I'm going to take responsibility and take charge of the only thing in this world that I actually have control over, which is my response to the stimulus that's in my environment and the choices and decisions that I'm making. So that will bring you to kind of allowing yourself to let go of expectations and allowing yourself to let go of judgment of other people and of yourself, and really get you in a place of just peace and acceptance, where you're just like, wow, I'm really okay with who I am, and now I can really be okay with who you are, right? And so that just creates this like amazing place of just happiness, which I want more than anything for all of you guys. So please, this week, what I want you to do is take out your journals and start asking yourself, what are the expectations that I have of the people around me? My husband, partner, significant other, my kids, my family, my friends, my coworkers, my boss, right? Everybody and everything, my pet, right? It might be you have an expectation that your pet will go to the bathroom outside. They just don't happen to understand that sometimes, right? So what are the expectations that you have of these people, and how can you release those expectations, or how can you better communicate those expectations to these people and actually come to where there's an agreement, where they've said, oh, I understand what's expected of me, and I agree to do that. And if there's any kind of discrepancy, having a conversation to say, okay, well, what might this look like if your needs are being met and my needs are being met, right? And when it comes to judgments, this one's going to be a little bit difficult for a lot of you, right? Because this is really going to ask you to be courageous and to have trust in the fact that you will get on the other side of this. But I want you to list out, what are the things that you judge other people for, right? Is it the mom that's dropping her kids off in Carline in her pajamas? Is it the woman who, might be at the pool eating some pizza? Or is it the one who feeds her kids GMOs, right? Or maybe you judge the organic crunchy mom. What are the things that you're judging people for? And how is that a reflection of some deep insecurity that you have about yourself, right? This is a very serious exercise, and I know that we've gone through, we've jumped through a lot of hoops. We've done a lot of really intense work thus far in the course, and this is where I'm really getting into the meat of things, and I want you to lean into it. Find out what the answers to these questions are. This is what it's for, and this is a conversation, again, that you're having in a safe place. This is for you. It's for your journal. And there is another side, right? There's always a lesson on the other side of the pain. So I'm asking you to actually lean into it. You're not going to have to relive this over and over again. So once you're able to release the judgments and expectations that you have of other people, of yourself, you'll actually be able to start nurturing and creating relationships based on choice, right? And understanding and agreements that you've made with each other as to what and how you're going to show up and be for each other. So this is Yada Golden reminding you to live your life on purpose today, and I'll see you guys in the next module.